Hello everybody, welcome back. It is August 18th, 2025, and you're listening to episode 214 of Midnight Film Society. Your host, Damian Sherman. Joining me today, as always, is...
Derick McDuff.
On today's show, we got weapons, we got guns, and a horrific tale of codependency. This week, we'll take a look at Barbarian director Zach Cregger's follow-up, Weapons, Liam Neeson's and Akiva Schaffer's The Naked Gun, and Dave Franco and Alison Brie in Together. But before that, we'll get into some movie and TV news, go over what we've been watching, and finish up with our Letterboxd assignments. Right into the show, Midnight Film Society at gmail.com, Midnight Film Pod on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, subscribe on Pocket Cast, YouTube Podcast, Spotify, rate and or review it on Apple Podcasts, tell a friend, if a member or stranger. What's up, dude? How are we doing?
Doing well, ready to go, ready to record. Doubleheader in terms of podcast recordings for me today, so I'm hitting my second win.
Yeah, and like I was just saying, we're deep into August, which means hot weather over here in the Northeast. It's gonna get
also hot weather in in California, the Southern California, next to much closer to the equator.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's supposed to break for us tomorrow. Do you have any respite ahead of you over there?
No, but I will be taking a cruise to Alaska, so that'll be nice and cold. But
nice.
So yeah, I'll get away from it for a week.
There you go. I always wonder if how often or when eventually will happen where somebody's taking a cruise to Alaska and just a giant iceberg just decides to just shatter and melt, or one of those sheets of ice just decides to fall off right in front of one of the cruise that's over there.
Well, I don't think you really understand how the ice in Alaska works in that case. It's not Antarctica.
Not Antarctica?
Or Greenland.
Not Greenland?
No,
okay.
No.
So there's not. So Alaska is.
There's not big ice sheets in Alaska.
Okay. Well, you never know these days. There might be one heading down from Antarctica. It's 2025.
I don't think that's on the other side of the world, Damian. So I don't think that'll be the case.
All the way on the other side of the world. Antarctica.
Are you doing a bit or like what's
Antarctica
happening
is
right
north. It's north.
No,
it
is not. No, it is not.
Antarctica is not north.
Are you doing a bit right now?
I'm not doing a bit. I'm saying Antarctica ice.
Antarctica.
Ice. Yes,
Antarctica is at the bottom of the world.
Okay, well, you could have surmised from what I was trying to say.
Look at north. A globe or any map, dude. Antarctica is Arctic. At the bottom of the world.
What am I thinking of?
Arctic.
Tell me. The Arctic.
You're thinking of the Arctic Ocean. That's an ocean. It's not a continent.
So there's no continents.
Antarctica.
Where's Santa from?
What
the North Pole?
Dude, like what is going on in the school systems in the fucking Northeast? What is happening right now?
Where's the North Pole? North, right? Or no?
Yes, North Pole is north. There is that's not land up there. That is ocean. Okay? Antarctica. Look at a picture in your mind, a globe or a map. You see that big white thing at the bottom?
Yes.
That's Antarctica. At the bottom.
Yeah.
That's not the top. That's the bottom.
Okay, so I'm looking at pictures. April 16th, 1990, temporary research station in German-Swiss expedition on the sea ice at the geographic North Pole. So there's places up there that people can. Well, that was 30 years ago.
It freezes over sometimes. Yeah. All right, it's not a continent though.
Not a continent. Okay.
Oh, Damian. Oh, my God.
So there's not ice north of Alaska, as you're saying. I'll go north of Alaska. I'm not going to see any ice.
No, I said Antarctica is not north of Alaska. That is what I'm saying.
Okay. So let me ask you one final question before we move on. Okay. So the Titanic, right? How did the Titanic sink? It sank from an iceberg. Right?
It wasn't Antarctica, Damian. It was not.
Well, so I've moved on. I've moved on from the Antarctic. I said I was incorrect. So let's move on from that.
It was okay. So remember when it was in the Atlantic Ocean, all right, which is, by the way, by Greenland. Okay,
Greenland. Yeah.
And
okay.
Yes. No. You know what? Let's just move on.
Okay.
Like
All right.
I didn't. I'll send you like a
Yeah.
YouTube video or something
Yeah.
that
Right
explains
into
geography.
Midnight Film Society and explain to me
Oh
why
my
Derek's
god.
wrong. Okay, moving on.
All right, yeah.
Terrence Stamp.
Flat Earthers right in.
Flat
Earthers right
Earthers.
in.
Yeah, my dudes. Let's do this. Terrence Stamp, 87 years old.
Oh my god. Oh, the whiplash of that one.
Terrence Stamp, the British actor who became synonymous with swinging London in the 60s, has died. Family members, it is said Sunday, came to prominence apparently in the titular role of the 1962 film Billy Budd. When's the first time you saw Mr. Terrence Stamp in a film, Derick?
It had to be Superman 2. He's
Yes.
the iconic General Zod, kneel before Zod, one of the
Exactly.
all-time great villains of all time.
Yes, incredible
All-time
film.
great villains of all time from the Redundancy Department of Redundancy.
1999, he was in a film called Limey, which wasn't the first time I saw him, but was probably one of my favorite roles I've seen him in. Great underrated Steven Soderbergh film from 99. Another great movie from 99. Let's see what else this man has done. I know I've seen him in a few different things. The Limey, like I said.
His last movie was Last Night in Soho. Really great film. Last Night in Soho.
Yes.
Last movie he did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. He was in Phantom Menace. What was he in the Phantom Menace?
He was the Chancellor Valorum, the guy who gets impeached so that Palpatine can take over.
Oh, interesting. So he's like I was going to say, the guy in Germany, the Chancellor in Germany who was deposed before Hitler, right?
Chancellor Antarctica.
Yes, exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this man's filmography. So, if anything else I seen him in, I never saw Young Guns. Have you?
I have not actually. I have seen Wall Street though. He's in Wall Street. He's in Yes Man.
Okay.
He's in the first and probably worst Haunted Mansion. But yeah, he's an iconic British character actor. Just one of those old guys who's you're like old, but you could he's a silver fox a little bit, where he's like a mean British old guy, but he's still kind of hot. That kind of vibe,
Yeah. I did check out The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert in the last couple of years. He was in that with guys that you would associate with, strong masculinity. It was Terrence Stamp, Hugo Weaving, Guy Pearce as well, Bill Hunter. Very good movie. Definitely recommend checking that one out. Nothing else in here really I can pick out and say that I've seen that. Great actor. Terrence Stamp passes away this week at 87. And one other thing I just want to jump into before we get to what we've been watching. We have a clip here from Superman, from the set of Superman, which harkens back to a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that I used to love watching. Back in the day when you get a DVD or even I think in Blu-ray, they would still include these things of, just behind-the-scenes stuff of directors directing and actual behind the scenes stuff. I've had a few, I've got a few 4K Blu-rays, which I haven't really explored the behind the scenes and the extra scenes of it. So I can't really say for certain that stuff doesn't exist. Right. But, it's just one of those things that harkens back to the golden age of, behind the scenes stuff. Right.
These guys, they get into it. It was just like, before when we were talking about geography, like the back and forth between
the banter,
David Cornsweet
the helpful banter
and James Gunn.
Yeah, it is good stuff. You always imagine those conversations happening, and sometimes they get questioned. They go on the press tour, and the press will sometimes ask them questions. I see that mostly with guys like Kevin McCarthy, who just started his own podcast. He's got Josh Brolin on his first one. It's called On Film with Kevin McCarthy. I highly recommend that stuff. So, they've probably been asked about moments like this, and they've probably recalled it in some way, but to actually see it is heartening to see that those conversations are actually happening, especially with, superhero movies, which most people just assume is, it's paint by numbers. It's sort of we're filming this scene today, and you just do it. Make the say the lines, do the thing. But it's always good to see there's directors out there like James Gunn that will take the time to have these discussions even on set, not in a private room, not behind the scenes away from everybody else, but have it on set with everybody watching and being like, okay, explain to them why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it was good. And, David Cornsweet, I don't know how much of the clip you saw, but he talks about, him being a theater actor and his process in questioning, the character motivation and stuff like that. So, I appreciated it.
Yeah, definitely. definitely. So with that, yeah, let's get quickly on to what we've been watching. So we got a bunch of stuff on here on the docket. I will go.
Including if I'm like
Yeah,
you saw both your favorite and least favorite movie of the year that you can talk
Whiplash.
about here.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
speaking of Whiplash, speaking of logical whiplash that you experienced, I experienced Whiplash at the theater this week. So yeah, well, I saw my favorite movie of the year, and well, not in the theaters. I will say I saw my least favorite movie of the year at home. So I was the privacy of cringing by myself there. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's start off with my favorite movie of the year. Again, just like with Anyton last time, I'll probably be long-winded on this film, but without
What
spoiling
you?
it. I know, me long-winded. What? Never. So the movie in question is Weapons, big release of the week. Zach Cregger's follow-up to Barbarian, like I said, stars Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, Benedict Wong, and I'll save the last one for potential spoiler discussions maybe down the line. But yeah, love this movie. Really looking forward to it a lot. This is definitely a movie that conversation around it has been about how it doesn't spoon feed you a lot at all. I love that. I love movies that don't spoon feed you and leaves you with more questions than answers. And yeah, this movie definitely does that. I think that was intentional of him. And again, just talking about movies that don't get made anymore and movies that don't get made like this. They exist, and it's great to see it. Really love the presentation of it. Where I'll just talk about the themes, I guess, which are, things happen in life and you just don't know why they happen or any reason behind it. And this movie explores. They talked about this in the film cast, and other people have said this. So it's not, and I don't know if Kreger has said this specifically, but this is definitely not just an out there theory, but it is very much about school shootings and what happens in a classroom and why they happen to certain kids and why certain kids die and why the shooter picks those people. And it's just my personal view. It's random and it's chaotic and it's totally preventable, but we've chosen not to put policies in place that do prevent those things, and police don't prevent them because we've seen time and time again that they do not rush in when they're supposed to. There's the good guy with a gun does not stop bad guy with a gun. He just doesn't. So I think the movie is exploring a lot of those things, a lot of those ideas of why these things happen, and doesn't give answers, because honestly there is no good answer to why they happen. They just do. And so yeah, this movie explores those things very, very well, and shows the after effects of those things happening, and shows what happens when to families they're broken apart and destroyed because of those things that happen. On top of that, you got really, really good. The camera moves in a very interesting way a lot of times, and extraordinarily good performances out of Julia Gardner and Josh Brolin, obviously. The supporting characters do a very good job as well. I don't want to, but from now on, I can't really get into too much of the specifics. So I guess I'll just leave it there and highly, highly recommend this movie to anyone. It was probably my first or second favorite movie of the year. Yeah. Very, very good.
Yeah, I need to check it out. Yeah. Looking forward to this one, especially after hearing your praise of it. Because I've been hearing some mixed things, but I definitely want to go check it out. And I like Julia Garner a lot. Obviously we talked about her last week with Fantastic Four. She's a really great actress, and so excited to see this one. I mean, if you want, I can take off my headset and you can do some spoilers. But
why don't we? No, we'll save it for when you see it, and we can dive into it then.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
All right, yeah. So let's go to you. You saw you texted me your least favorite movie of the year. Tell me what it is and why it's your least favorite of the year.
Yeah, so that I saw Nobody 2, which is a sequel to a movie I generally remember sort of watching, like came out 3 years ago. I had to look up. I was like, when did Nobody 1 come out? And that movie was fine. It was just kind of like a watered down John Wick with, it's a really good, central performance in it. And this is like a sequel that is like, whenever they do these like sequels, it's like, how do we get John Wick back in it? How do we get Mr. Nobody? I don't even remember his character's name.
John Nobody.
Back into it. Yeah. John Nobody. What's he up to? He's going on vacation. And I was like, oh yeah, Christopher Lloyd was his dad and RZA was his brother. All right, I guess I remember that. I don't really remember what happened in that first movie. And it is just like the most by the numbers action movie, like not a original idea in this whole thing. Like, and Bob Odenkirk, God bless him, he's incredible. He's doing a good job. but Hutch is apparently his name. Hutch.
John
Yeah,
Hutch.
and yeah, and like it's just so like mind-numbingly legit. It's like we ran into these guys and they're evil because they love being evil, and he was just trying to take vacation, but now he ran into these evil. And Sharon Stone is in it, and she's doing this like insane bad guy that's only character motivation seems to be like, I am mean and evil. Like that. It's fucking terrible. Like I really hated this movie. It's just kind of like a movie you watch and it makes no impact on you whatsoever. There was not an original thing in this whole film, which is a shame to say because I really like a lot of the people in this. Colin Hanks is like, oh, I'm a sheriff, but I'm a mean sheriff. You see, I work for the bad guys.
Oh, okay.
Like it's nothing you haven't seen before in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So I do not recommend this movie.
Yeah, your thoughts on this movie echo mine about things like The Accountant 2 and a little bit of Ballerina. I feel like Ballerina, I was a little rough on Miss Ballerina when I saw it. But yeah, so your views on this echo mine of those two movies. And it's just a shame because we've seen them be done well. It's not like these things have never been done well and they're just like churning things out. Like they can be done well, but they just choose not to apparently.
Yeah, and like this is like I think Bob Odenkirk really likes playing this character, but and the character itself is not poorly acted or anything, but he just makes a lot of stupid decisions that make no sense.
All right. Yeah. I was gonna ask you a question about because the things I said about like Accountant 2, like you said, it does nothing new, and at a certain point you gotta make these movies to fit what somebody's gonna expect going in, right? But they're like with Accountant, it's like, oh, we're gonna with these kids and they're being abducted, so we gotta go and rescue them, and that's the end of the story. And it's never like we're old enough now, or I think we're world weary enough to know that's not where it ends, and they just put them in foster care, and foster care system's totally broken. So unfortunately, that's probably the baggage I'm bringing to a lot of this stuff, which probably isn't fair to the movie. But yeah, like you said, there you can at least not write the dialogue where it's I've been out of the game for so long, I'm not getting dragged back in. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm going to. It's just like you could do a little bit better than the pat dialogue, right?
Yeah, it's pretty generic, and like even the action itself is like not that interesting. Like there's not that like it's like at the end they're like, ooh, we're gonna have like the final battle at a water park, and I'm like, oh, cool, I haven't seen that before, and they just don't do anything with it that it's just like, all right, Christopher Lloyd's up here with like a Gatling gun, and it's like, oh, the bad guys are coming to get them in like the family in the cabin, and RZA has like a samurai fight with a guy. It's just like, and I like with John Wick, right? They're always every time they make a new John Wick movie, they're like, we don't want to make a new John Wick movie if we can't do something we haven't done in another John Wick movie. We got to do something different and new, and that's why those movies are always good, because it's like, wow, I've never seen John Wick do this before. This is really cool. And this is like, I've seen everyone do this. I've seen James Bond. I've seen John Wick. I've seen like Home Alone Kid. I've seen everyone do all these things before.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next up, we got The Naked Gun. This is the second of the three movies I saw at the theater last week. This is a very good movie. I was going to say that like, oh, I'm glad I didn't spend my $17, which I just, for the record, I was trying to see what the price would have been if I didn't have Regal Unlimited. Yeah, it's $17 fucking dollars. I had no idea it was that much. But anyways,
that's actually like the cheapest ticket you can get out here. But
yes,
keep going.
I believe you. Yeah, I believe you. So yeah, very, very funny. This is from Akiva Schaffer, one of the Lonely Island fellas. This is obviously based on the Police Squad, or the Police Academy, or not Police Academy, Jesus Christ, Police Squad. Yeah. And then the movies, The Naked Gun, was based on the Police Squad TV show by David Zucker, Jim Abrams, and them. This is produced by Seth MacFarlane, starring Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson, Paul Walter Hauser, Danny Houston, CCH Pounder, and Kevin Durant from the. I saw him in the Lost. You saw him in Lost. He was in Lost?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Lost. He's a real fucking prick in Lost.
Nice. I was gonna
Martin
say
Keamy.
I last saw him, or we last saw him in the Planet of the Apes movie last year, right?
Yeah, he's really great in that movie. He's so
Very good.
fucking good as Proximus Caesar.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, very, very good. They, just like Akiva Schaffer. I don't know. I don't think he didn't direct. Yes, he did direct the not the was it Chipmunks movie, right, from a couple years ago.
Yeah, I did not know he directed that.
Yeah, Chippendale
Like
Rescue,
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Alvin, and no, sorry, the Chippendale Rescue
Oh,
Rangers.
right. Okay.
John
When you
Mulaney
said
and
the Chipmunks were. Yeah. Yes, he did. He directs. He does like a Lonely Island guy. He did that. He did
yes,
Pop Star. He
yep.
does a lot of like Lonely Island stuff.
Yeah. So he brought that sort of comedic ability to this movie as well. It's just it harkens back. It gives you exactly what you want. It harkens back to the Naked Gun movies, to the joke, not a minute, but joke a second. Like every and probably jokes on jokes, where there's a joke in the foreground and a joke in the background that you got to be looking out for as well. So there's definitely rewards. Multiple viewings. There's a joke about coffee that keeps getting revisited over and over again. Just absolutely ridiculous stuff of, there's like a scene, it's filled with jokes like this where it's just, you're like, okay, I get it, and it's funny, and then it stops being funny, but they keep going so long that it becomes funny again. There's a part where he's there. It opens with a bank robbery, and Kevin Durand is in custody, and they're interrogating him, and he says, like, I wasn't there, and Liam Neeson says, you were there. I have it on my police cam. I have it on my whatever. So they start showing his police cam from the beginning of the day, and he's in his car, and he's like eating a chili dog and coffee, and he pulls somebody over, and he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And he starts farting, and he's like, sir, I will just let you go. And then the next 3 minutes of him just running around the city trying to look for a place to shit, and he's like, oh God, no, oh Jesus, no. It's fucking stupid describing it, but it's very, very funny watching it. So yeah, Liam Neeson is one of those guys. He's like the who's the guy from the first one? Also
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen. He's Leslie Nielsen, but people might not know, was a serious dramatic actor before he got those roles in the Naked Gun and Airplane movies, and
exactly.
Liam Neeson is following in his footsteps in this one. So really, really funny. Cannot recommend it enough. I saw it in a pretty empty theater, but the people that were there in the theater with me were laughing hysterically as well. So highly recommend seeing this before it leaves theaters.
Yeah, definitely gonna check this one out. Just haven't got a chance to yet. And yeah, like I said, he's continuing that vein of like he both him and Leslie Nielsen do have that like very deadpan, serious delivery that they give. Like talked about before his in Ted, but there's also that one of him being on I think it's Extras, the Ricky Gervais show. Is like, you have some excellent reading lists. That's why Steven Spielberg chose me to be Oscar Schindler. So he just delivers it so deadpan. It's so fucking good, and yeah, that's why he's perfect in this role.
Yeah, he's very good. So yeah, let's go to you. Back to you. You saw a movie that is like going viral. It's not really. I mean, it's tearing up the charts on Netflix as well. But it's one of those that everyone's talking about. I really want to catch up with it. Is Kpop Demon Hunters? Tell me about this.
Yeah, so like I said, this one was just blowing up on my Instagram feed. I just kept seeing more and more reels and just all these posts about it. I was like, all right, I guess I'll check this thing out. And yeah, this movie was an absolute blast. This is I listened to a little bit of K-pop, but I'm not like a K-pop guy, but so I know a little bit about it. But went in and it's just a ton of fun. It's just an incredible, just animated movie, Sony. So obviously the same studio that's made Spider-Verse, and it kind of almost has like a little bit of a similar look to that. They get like this unique, computer animated style that it does harken back to like hand drawings. A lot of animation computer animation is a little too perfect, and it's a little imperfect. But it's just this great story. It's just doesn't set the world on fire or anything, but I had a ton of fun with it. Just got some great songs and a great plot, and you really care about this main character who is both a pop star and, as the name would imply, she's hunting down demons. So you get some really cool action scenes set to K-pop music throughout the course of this, and I really had a fun time with it. K-pop Demon Hunters. It's on Netflix. Highly recommend it.
Nice, yeah. I was been a fan of anime, action anime stuff back in the day. Still, will dip in and out of it once in a while. This reminds me of stuff like Samurai Champloo, which was on Adult Swim for a long time. But yeah, definitely always been a fan of the super stylized, over the top action stuff. And I don't know if this is obviously Korean animation, but I've been a huge fan of Japanese anime for a long time. So definitely right up my alley.
Yeah, I think you would definitely enjoy this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to me. The third movie I saw in theaters last week was the new body horror, curse horror movie from Alison Brie and Dave Franco called Together, directed by Michael Shanks. Didn't really heard too much of him. Apparently, best known for The Wizard of Oz. Not sure if I seen anything else this person has done. Nope, just one of those YouTuber guy filmmakers. This was obviously starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie. Damon Harriman plays like the third guy in this. The guy that so Alison Brie gets a job as a teacher in the countryside. They start the movie living in New York, and Dave has been sort of what he was making a bunch of music with his friends, but that sort of petered out. So now they're going to go and move the country, and Dave's going to try to go back every weekend to try to still maintain the music that he's making. And so I won't give up, too much spoiler here, but it's one of those, they go out and they're hiking, and they find this mysterious well of water that they fall down into, and they start drinking it, and they start sticking together, as the name would imply. And if you've seen any trailers for this, that is the premise of the thing. I love this movie. It harkens back to like old, Stephen King short stories of just, things escalating very quickly, specifically something like Thinner, where it's somebody getting cursed and their body starts changing in disgusting ways. This is very, very thematically resonant with something like that. And you know me, I'm Mr. Body Horror. I loved, what was the big one from last year with...
Oh, fucking The Substance.
The Substance, exactly. So this isn't that. This isn't as, over the top and stylized and all that stuff. But if you like body horror, if you like nasty, gross practical effects and people just screaming as they're trying to rip themselves apart after having sex, and you see a little bit of stuff being stretched in the ways they're not supposed to be being stretched, then definitely check out Together. I saw this in a theater, not too many people in there, but yeah, good time.
Well,
good
it
time
was shock. Yeah, I can't say that
value.
I'm a fan of seeing things that stuck together and stretched out that shouldn't be. So I don't know. That's the reason I haven't seen this one yet.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It's a good one of those. So yeah, let's go back to you. You saw The Bad Guys. You're seeing all the stuff I haven't seen, which is always good. Good to
right. You're balancing each other out. I've
it's,
not seen anything you've seen, and you haven't seen anything I've seen.
That's good. Good balancing out there. You saw The Bad Guys 2. I was stuttering there for a second because I thought I said Ethan Cohen, but it's not. It's Ethan Cohen, an Israeli American screenwriter. That was weird. But yeah, tell me about The Bad Guys 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one where I was just like, I kind of remember The Bad Guys 1, but I liked The Bad Guys 1. It's a fun heist movie. And this one just continue. It's like a heist movie but for kids, and heist movies can be so many different things, and this is like one of a heist movie with the kids. It's got a really great voice cast. Sam Rockwell as the big bad wolf, but you've also got Mark Maron, Awkwafina, Craig Robinson, and Anthony Ramos in there. But then they bring in it's like the bad guys have gone good. They're kind of trying to reform, and it's there's an interesting stuff up there about like, what do we do with like ex-cons, people who are trying to reform and how difficult that is for them, and they kind of get drawn into this other heist and get back. It's kind of like what we were talking about before, but like, kind of a fresh take on that of like, oh well, they're getting drawn back in. What do they do this time? And they get him going to space and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. The bad guy from the first one comes back in a fun way. They kind of go see him in prison, and he's kind of like introduced like Hannibal Lecter, and I thought this was a ton of fun. It's not like an all-time great or anything, but like as far as kids movie sequels go, this is like definitely up there. I can't think of any other kids movies that are really heist movies. So this one was a blast. I had a really good time watching it. So I would say, whether you might want to wait for it to come to Peacock or whatever, but like this is a fun movie. This is great. I love Sam Rockwell, and there's actually some interesting things that it's saying.
Nice. Yeah, this is one of the two sort of sequels that I'm looking forward to the most. Anime sequels I'm forward to the most. Was Zootopia supposed to come out this year, or is that next year? Zootopia
I think
2.
it's next year. Oh no, it's the end of the year this year.
End of the
Zootopia.
year?
It comes out like November, December, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's a yeah, it's a winter release.
Similar vibes there. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that as well. Back to me. So I had in the Berkshires. It's a pretty artsy fartsy type of area, and you'll have once in a blue moon, you'll have people coming in. I had I forget the guy's name, but he was in Sex and the City for a while. I had one of the Brat Pack guys, not Anthony. Is it Anthony? Anthony McCarthy? No, Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy has a place around here, so I've seen him come in a few times. Karen Allen has a place around there, so I chatted her about her. She's filming a new movie in Ireland, so get to hobnob with some some actors once in a while. And a documentary filmmaker, stopped in as well, named Ashley Sabin, and her husband David Redmond are documentary filmmakers. They put out one of my favorite docs from 2023 called Kim's Video, and we got chatted about that. And she said that she's made other docs in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Two of them about post-Katrina New Orleans. One's called Camp Katrina. The other is called Invisible Girlfriend. She gave me some DVDs to watch and to review. And so, yeah, disclaimer, she gave me those DVDs, and I put that in my review as well, that she gave me the DVDs. And, I've talked to her for a while. So, yeah, that if you think that's colored my reviews, then so be it. But yeah, they are very good. They are about post-Katrina New Orleans, specifically about husband and wife. Their property was one of the least damaged in the area, so they cleaned up their backyard as much as they could and let a lot of people to sort of stay there for a few months. So it's about how, it's I've talked before about, community is incredibly important. Local community, getting involved in that stuff is incredibly important. But, the human element always rears its ugly head. So there's those moments where people get too rowdy and they get drunk, and there's drug dealing, all that kind of stuff. So there's that. And Invisible Girlfriend was about a guy who was down there and helping out. He lived about 400 miles away, and it's about him getting on his bicycle and heading back and seeing what else he can do to help them out. So it's very reminiscent of things like The Straight Story, which they reference in there, but a guy just driving and taking a bicycle very, very far. And Intimidad was another one they made in 2008 about a Mexican family just trying to get along, just trying to survive and get a house built and buying a plot of land, and how that can go. And she's a very good filmmaker. I'd highly recommend checking out her stuff. It's on I have a list of her and her husband's stuff on my Letterboxd. So you can check it out there in my list. So yeah, highly recommend all of their stuff.
Nice. I'll have to check out some of their docs. I'm a big doc fan, so I'll have to add these ones to the list.
Yeah, they are streaming on Canopy if people don't have access to their DVDs. No. Their library, so check it out on Canopy. Yeah.
Okay, nice. If there's one that you would recommend first, what would you recommend?
I would say, well, it depends if you want, because it's very different subject matter, Kim's Video and Camp Katrina and the other ones. Probably Camp Katrina. I think there are actually new docs being put out right now about Katrina, and maybe there's some new information on there, but it's always good to go back and see what it was actually like. They were actually embedded with them, they're staying with them. So if you want a really on the ground, sort of as unbiased and sort of very, very raw sort of view of what was happening even months afterwards, I would definitely recommend checking out Camp Katrina.
Okay. Yeah, definitely have to check that out then.
Yeah, yep. All right, back to you for one last one. I checked out the Jurassic Park at the Hollywood Bowl. Tell me all about this.
Yeah, so Jurassic Park is maybe my favorite film of all time. It's probably the film I've seen the most times in my life. And they just happened to be playing it at the Hollywood Bowl, one of the all-time great concert venues. They were playing it at the Hollywood Bowl on my birthday. So I was like, I got to go to this. I got to see this. They were playing the movie on screen with the LA Philharmonic playing the score, the John Williams score live. And this was one of the coolest things I've ever gotten here. Because this is a sound. I've seen this movie so many times. I know this soundtrack every note of it, you know. And so getting to watch this movie that I deeply, deeply love, and getting to hear these musicians play the iconic, incredible score live was so great. And you know, I have talked about before how I love going to movies with like a crowd with a group of people that are excited to see this movie. There's thousands of like this is a humongous venue. It's this outdoor, beautiful venue in the middle of Los Angeles. There's a nice breeze blowing in, and people are cosplaying. People are dressed as Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler. I've got on my Jurassic Park shirt. As I was walking in, there was a guy from Universal Studios. There was like in front of a Jeep, and he was like he was dressed as Dr. Ian Malcolm, and he was taking pictures. Like, yes, if you see John Hammond, tell him I'm not too happy with him. You know, like it was incredible. Like I had such a great time. It was a perfect birthday gift to myself. I could not have asked for a better birthday. The fact that they were playing it on that day was really, really a great, cool moment to experience, and I'm glad that I got to go there for that.
Nice, that's awesome. Happy late birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I turned the big 4-0 this past July, so I'm right there with you.
Ooh,
or not with you,
right.
but you are.
Yeah, I'm on the other side looking out at you.
Exactly.
Wow.
I was going to say, yeah, they. I think I have it for later, but Jaws' 50th anniversary is happening as well, so I will be watching another classic Spielberg in the theater pretty soon.
That's very cool. That's very cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go back to that one.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I got a couple more things here. A slate. Watched Warfare finally. So I've seen all of the Alex Garland directed films. I haven't seen all the directed Alex Garland written films. I still have to see The Beach, which is I believe is one of his first ones that he wrote for. I always forget his name. The guy, 28 Days Later guy.
Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle, yeah. So that's the last one I have to see that he wrote with him. Yeah, if you know anything about this movie is just right. It sticks you right in the middle of warfare, literally Afghanistan warfare. Depicts the November 19th, 2006 encounter at the Battle of Ramadi. You're in there with them. It's I guess the movie I would closely tie it with is something like Black Hawk Down. You're just the sound design in this movie is second to none. I was really impressed by it. It's one of these movies that I really appreciate. You could probably appreciate it more with a very good sound system, but small apartment here. I have to watch everything with a noise canceling headphones, which are, I would say second best to doing that. So it's really, really, you can really appreciate it that way as well. So, all the gunshots, all the radio chatter, all of the, when grenades go off and right near people, I think there is a overused audio sense of the ringing in your ears. I think that's a little been overdone for the past couple of years. So they do a very good job of having it be more muffled. They'll bring in the ringing a little bit, but they do much more with the muffler, which I think can give you a similar effect. It is so down in the muck with them, and it is just one of those movies. People talk about there's really no such thing as a war movie. I think the only one that other people will cite is Come and See. Here, seen that one. That is one of the ones people cite as the only truly war film. I think a lot of directors try to make their war films to make it as not. Jesus, they're trying to make the movie not gratuitous as possible, not glorify it. Just make it as it is. And I think he's done the best job he could here. So, recommend checking this out. On a good sound system because it has really, really amazing sound in this movie.
Nice. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch this movie. I've tried to catch it in the theaters, missed it, so I'll have to check it out now.
Yeah, and I would just say wrapping up my what I've been watching very quickly with The Life of Chuck. This is based on the life of Chuck, written by Stephen King. I'm a huge King guy. I love a lot of the movies that were based on the books that weren't as gore that weren't horror. The Shawshank Redemption. I know I'm forgetting a bunch of other ones, but the Stand, or not the Stand, The Body was turned into Stand By Me. So there's a bunch of movies that have been made from his books that aren't horror, that are very, very good. Some of the best movies of all time were based on that. This, I just couldn't get on his wavelength at all. Of just, it's also the book is presented and the movie is as well presented in non-linear fashion, and that's fine. I'll talk about I did talk about a movie that was based on non-linear fashion. The Weapons was that, so you can do it well, and I think you can do it for a reason, and it can have a very big impact sometimes. But this movie, I just didn't get it, I guess is the best way to put it. They presented at the end of not the end of the world, but things are definitely breaking down very quickly, where Julie Ejiofor plays a teacher, and electricity is starting to go out, the internet's starting to go out, and people are talking about, can you believe we never knew what to do? We don't even know what to do without internet. And it's I think that's my biggest problem with it. It is so, incredibly on the nose. And I think there's movies we talked about here before that are on the nose that I've given grace to, because I think there's so many thick-headed people in this country and in the world that need to be hit in the nose with its themes. But this one is not doesn't do it well at all. And yeah, there's just long drawn out scenes, and I didn't really understand the impact that they intended to have with the nonlinear storytelling motif there. So yeah, did not care for it. I know you mentioned the Filmcast fell head over heels for it. I'd be interested to see what you think of it, because I don't know if we really talk too much on the show about movies like this that are sort of life affirming, and life is just about your experiences, and we contain multitudes, and that is a thing they repeat over and over again. This movie of speaking of the themes of this movie that they hit you over the head with multiple times is, we are the sum of our parts. We contain multitudes. We are okay. Maybe the world's falling apart, but nice. There's still reasons to be nice, and there's reasons to think back in your life. Didn't we have a great life? Wasn't the world great? And didn't we accomplish a lot? Yeah, we did, but it still sucks. sorry, it just does. So I guess I wasn't in the right headspace to appreciate the movie's message. So maybe you will be interested to know what you think of this if you check out The Life of Chuck.
Okay, I'll have to check this one. I mean, it's not doing well at the box office, so
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see, I guess, how it goes.
Yeah. We'll see. Indeed.
I'll check it out. Definitely check it out. But yeah, interested to hear that you are not a fan of this one.
Yeah, not so much. So yeah, with that, let's get to our Letterboxd assignments again for the third time in a row. For the third show in a row, Damian watched his movie here, and it was one of the best movies I've seen in a while. And I think I've said that a few times about my Letterboxd assignment, but I had a very good time with this. My assignment was Witness for the Prosecution from 1957, directed by Billy Wilder. It was an adaptation of a Larry Marcus book. Yeah, it was it was based on a 1925 story, but also a 1953 Agatha Christie play. So if you know anything about Agatha Christie, it was sort of constructed in that way that she does these very, very well constructed mystery books. And this movie has an incredible last turn. I won't spoil it here, but I won't spoil an 80-year-old movie, whatever. Yeah, something like that, 70-year-old movie. But yeah, very, very good, very well constructed, very well acted. Tyrone Power. I mentioned in my Letterboxd review, or maybe I mentioned it somewhere on a Discord server. But if you ever seen him act, seen him do his charm thing and his eyes, he is incredibly influential. He's a guy that you would look at and go, oh, that's old-timey George Clooney. I think George Clooney was compared a lot to Cary Grant. I think Tyrone Power is another guy that you could definitely say, oh, that's a old-looking, that's an old-timey George Clooney there. So yeah, really, really good, like one of these murder mysteries, and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's one of those where the guy gets caught and he goes to jail, and the movie's very much about the legal system in England. So you're like, oh, that's something I've never really seen too much about. And really, really good. For one of my best picks here so far. So yeah, recommend checking out The Witness for the Prosecution. Let me see real quick where this thing is streaming. But yeah, have you heard of this? Have you seen it? Any interest in seeing it?
I've heard of it. I'm definitely interested in seeing it. I love Billy Wilder. I'm very interested to see Billy Wilder do Agatha Christie. Yeah. That seems like a very interesting turn. So he's absolutely one of my favorite writers/directors of all time. So I'm interested to see this. If it's not on my watch list, I should add it to mine too.
Yeah, so this is streaming on Prime Video right now. Yeah. You check it out there. And Tubi too. I was watching something on Tubi the other day and I was like, oh, actually, people talk about the greatness of Tubi, and I was like, all right, let me check it out for the first time. Holy shit,
Really
it's really pretty cool. All right, so that was my Letterboxd assignment. Derek, did you check out Sullivan's Travels or Rashomon?
I did check out my assignment from last week, Rashomon,
Nice.
which is obviously Akira Kurosawa. It's one of those films that like Groundhog Day or something. It's like kind of become shorthand for a certain structure of movie where it's like there's this murder that happens, and you get the testimony from all these different parties involved as to what happened, and they all differ in a different way. And you're like, what's the truth? What's going on here? But it's interesting because it's like I knew that frame story. There's like a second frame story with that is like within that, so it's like a Russian nesting where it's the guys were telling about like, oh, this is the stories that everyone told at court. They're telling those stories now to they're like outside in the rain telling that to this like wanderer, bandit, whoever. But it's really good. Obviously, like hot take, Rashomon, good movie. But yeah, like it's a reason that this that has become a style of storytelling that has been copied by many films. It is a really interesting film about truth and the way that different people will give different versions of truths, and everyone has their own truths. And even there's a like slight spoiler. There's you do get a through a medium, the murdered character gets his version of the story, and even that is highly suspect.
Hmm.
And how just subjective the truth can be, and the nature of good and evil. And there's something that happens at the end that is kind of unexpected that makes you kind of be like, well, are we good or are we evil? There's a character who's like a priest who is very important to the story, who's the only one really who did not witness it, who's at the trial. So yeah, I highly recommend Rashomon, especially since it's an 88-minute movie. So I was even though I'd been working almost nonstop and doing things, I didn't have a lot of free time to watch movies. I easily was able to watch Rashomon one night after work. So yeah, this one, especially, I haven't seen a ton of Kurosawa. I think this is only my fourth movie that I've seen. This definitely feels a lot different than the other stuff that I've seen, which have been either epics or like Ikiru, which is this like very slow, mournful movie. This is a really interesting movie about humanity.
Yeah, very cool. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Toshiro Mifune, just one of the all-time greats. Again, talking about like
He's so good,
yeah, of course.
especially when he's in Kurosawa movies. Like
Yes.
that's like it's like Scorsese and De Niro.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he's been in so many um, Kurosawa movies. Let me see. Seven Samurai, obviously. High and Low, which they're remaking Highest to Lowest. Yojimbo, Throne of Blood, The Hidden Fortress, Senjuro, which is, I'm just mentioning those because of the ones I've seen. Wasn't Redbeard, Stray Dog, The Bad Sleep Well. Yeah, it's just so fucking, people talk about Kurosawa a lot, but just the prolificness of him, obviously Spielberg and all the American sort of guys have sung his praises, and Lucas obviously based Star Wars in a lot of Throne of Blood, I believe, or was it? I think it was the Hidden Fortress.
It's Hidden Fortress, yeah.
Yeah.
Hidden Fortress is Star Wars. You watch that movie, you're like, oh, this is Star Wars.
Yeah, so incredible stuff. Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of Kurosawa either. So, like I said, Ikaru, Seven Samurai, obviously. I finally sat down and watched Ran, because Ran is, I believe, quite long. I see 160 minutes, so not too long. See High and Low, because they're making the remake. I've seen Hidden Fortress, Senjuro, but yeah, there's still a ton I need to see from Kurosawa. Redbeard, Stray Dogs, Kagemusha, I've heard is very good. Dreams.
That one's really solid. Yeah.
Which one?
That one's interesting because it's Kagemusha, because it's that's the movie he made when he was kind of at the end of his career and didn't really have the money or the juice left to make movies.
Yeah.
But George Lucas and I think Coppola and Spielberg like got him enough the money to make the movie, and it's one of the few movies that he made that was in color, and you can tell he's just like having the time of his life being able to make movies in color.
Yeah, definitely got to check that one out. All right, so with that, let's do a Letterboxd shuffle. Go to my Letterboxd watch list. I will hit shuffle and see what I get. We get A Tale of a Winter. So this is interesting. I was just talking about this guy, this director, because it's a director I haven't seen any of. His name is Eric Romer. Let me see. I think he's a French director of movies like. Trying to think of a good comparison, like Guadagnino, the Call Me by Your Name. So very, very, dreamy, very on movies set on coastlines. He did A Summer Tale. Eric Romer, I'm talking about now. Eric Romer did A Summer's Tale, The Green Ray. A lot of movies that are just like, ooh, we're sexy people and we're just gonna chill here and look at each other and touch each other. Yeah, so I definitely want to check out his filmography. So I guess I'll start with A Tale of Winter. So that's my pick for next time. Derick, go to your watch list. Let me know what you get.
Boom, shuffle, and I've got. Oh, all right. Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits. I just watched Brazil for the first time not too long ago, and and I rewatched Monty Python, The Holy Grail. So now we're gonna keep that tradition going and watch his Time Bandits, a movie that is, by all accounts, insane.
Yeah, one of the few Gilliam movies I haven't seen yet. So yeah, let me know how that is. And so let's check those out for next time. And for next time, August 22nd, we got the movie that is apparently made the most money in the world, Ni Za 2.
Yes, the animated movie that is
animated film that is tearing up the charts worldwide. Let's see what it's made so far: $2.2 billion. A lot of talk right now of American movies not doing so well, and the reason I don't think people realize how important the foreign markets were to American blockbusters doing well. The reason, Avengers movies and all those movies were able to make $2 billion was because of the money that they pulled in from foreign markets like China, like Europe, like those places were a big chunk of that $2 billion that Avengers movies used to make. And they're one of the reasons China is not spending as much money to see American movies anymore is because of movies like this, that they are, they finally spun up their own production studios and their own movie studios. They're making movies that their markets and their people want to see. So this is a sign to come, right?
Yeah, we could have a whole conversation about economics of Chinese box office and how only certain movies get released there and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, this is it. This is the #1 animated movie of all time, worldwide. It's the first time that has been a non-American film. But yeah, like China is definitely a major player in the box office. I wouldn't say that necessarily American movies are not doing well. It's like basketball. It's just like, well, everybody else is catching up with us now.
Yeah, true. That's a good way to frame it. Yeah. Next up, we have Honey Don't. It's from Ethan Coen. His follow up to, I'm trying to think. I was trying to look up the last one he did. I think we liked it a lot, right?
It was also had Margaret Qualley in it. It was
Driveway Dolls, right?
Driveway Dolls, yes, that movie ruled.
That was awesome. So yeah, another one probably like that a lot. Margot Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, Charlie Day, big cast in this. Chris Evans, yeah, looking forward to that. Another movie coming out that same week called Splitsville, directed by Michael Angelo Covino, starring a bunch of people I haven't really recognized. So, but a lot of people with no blue names on Wikipedia. We got Kyle Marvin, Michael Angelo Covino is also starring in this movie, and Dakota Johnson is in this, and Nicholas Braun, cousin Greg from Succession, is in this. So yeah, I've seen this trailer a few times. Looks very interesting. Looks interesting is what I say. So that's coming out August 22nd, and also that week we have Eden, Ron Howard directed movie, which according to the Wikipedia article here was in not production hell but sort of distribution hell. Was filmed a few years ago. Filming was expected to begin in November 2023, so it's been sitting on the shelf for a while, so interested to see what that's about. The following week, August 29th, we have a movie coming out which has a trailer that I've seen 9,000 fucking times. We have The Roses from director Jay Roach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you also seen this trailer a lot in
I have seen this trailer a lot, yeah. I have.
Yep. from Dre Roach, from Dinner for Schmucks, The Campaign, Trumbo. A lot of movies that don't really do very well in theaters. Did Meet the Fockers.
I mean, some of those movies did very well. I think those movies were financial successes, even if they are not remembered 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Bombshell in 2019, Trumbo in 2015, Campaign in 2012. Newest release from Jay Roach. Next up, we have Caught Stealing, which is from Darren Aronofsky.
This is a fucking trailer that I've seen 1,000 goddamn times.
Yes.
Every time I go to the fucking movie theaters, it's fucking habits, and it's like, Jewish, you have some of this. Here's the lady from The Princess Bride, and I'm Liev Schreiber, and it's like, all right. I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yes. From Darren Aronofsky. One of my, I give him a lot of guff, but one of my favorite directors, one of the true auteur directors out there, who made things like Black Swan, one of the best movies of the 2000s, that he did Noah and Mother. I've seen Mother and The Whale, have not seen Noah. But, he's one of these guys that back in the day when I was starting to get into, artsy fartsy movies, did Pi, and that movie blew my fucking mind when I saw it back then. It was one of the movies where you go, I didn't know they can make movies like that. I saw that movie around the same time as Blair Witch, and I was like, Jesus, wow, okay, movies can be different. Requiem for a Dream obviously blew my fucking mind back then. Probably blew out a lot of people's minds. The Fountain was fucking insane in 2006. And then The Wrestler, he was on a streak there for a while. Then made Noah.
I mean, I love Black Swan.
Yeah. No, I'm saying they're good movies. They're very good, very well regarded. But things like Noah and The Mother was kind of what are we doing there? And The Whale obviously won Brendan Fraser an award that year. So yeah, definitely very very interested to see what he's going to do with a more more traditional movie, right?
Yeah, no, it'll be, I guess, more traditional. I mean, he's always a director who's incredibly hit or miss for me.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of movies that have been on the shelf for a while, had distribution hell, we have Macon Blair's The Toxic Avenger. Speaking of body horror stuff that I love, definitely we'll be checking this out when it finally comes out this year, August 29th. It will be finally in theaters. Yeah. And like I said, are you interested in that movie at all or no?
Yeah, I like the original quite a bit. So
nice.
And it's funny because like right around when I recorded my podcast on the original was when the remake was making its rounds as in festivals and stuff, and maybe even a year after that, and it's finally coming out now. That episode came out like a year or two ago.
Wow, that's incredible. Macon Blair is just a guy I really rooted for a long time. I've loved his collaborations with Jeremy Saulnier in Murder Party and Blue Ruin. He was also had bit parts in Green Room. His first film that I liked a lot was I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore in 2017 with Elijah Wood and Melanie Linsky. Was very good as well. So definitely looking forward to it. All right. With all that, let's do a little plug-in. Letterboxd Midnight Film Pod, some number away from 2,200 followers. Go to medium.damian.sherman.com. Go to my Substack. Check out my writing there. I did I've been doing a couple of different write-ups about the Ashley Sabin's films on there, so check those out on there. Film Essayist on YouTube for my. You can also check out the show on YouTube and check out my film essays that I've done. Spotify for podcasters. Check out my interviews with Connor Kilpatrick and Josh Flanagan of iFanboy. Go to Discords. I'm active on Discords. I am Conan the Barbusian on iFanboy, Ringer Discord, Letterboxd Discord, Blank Check Discord. Blank Check doing a series on the Coen brothers. They dropped Fargo last night. I'm halfway through that discussion with director Zach Kreger, and I'm on Hey Riddle Discord as well. Derick, what you got to plug, my friend? What you got to plug, my friend?
Yes, my plug is the Underrated Movie Podcast. That is, of course, a podcast where I discuss films that are underrated, underappreciated, and under the radar. I am in the middle of my Leica retrospective, talking about all the films from the studio Leica. Just talked about the Box Trolls last week, and next week is going to be Kubo and the Two Strings. So films 3 and 4 out of Leica's filmography. So you can go, however you're listening to this podcast, listen to Underrated. You can also follow Underrated on all the social medias, or you can go to underratedmoviepodcast.com for all the info on that.
Very, very cool. All right. And with that, I've been Damian.
I'm in Derick.
And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.